And that will be topic A. Alan Colmes, host of the Alan Colmes Radio Show. Good morning to you, Alan.
How you doing, Bill?
Doug Heye, former communications director for the Republican National Committee. Doug, good morning to you as well. What did 200 Republicans get out of this, Doug?
Well, we want to get tangible results. We want to get specific agreements on spending cuts and that the president will actually agree to do something on this. A lean is that the White House doesn't have a plan. Speeches aren't plans. Not passing a budget for 2 years is not a plan. I'll tell you, what a difference a year makes, what a difference elections make. Last year, the year before, we saw the president bring House Republicans in, lecture them, and say, I want your ideas, and then promptly dismiss those ideas. But now we have a Republican House, and we're going to be able to hold the president's feet to the fire, and it's why we're encouraged.
All right, Alan, what does the president get out of this then?
Well, he's got to be able to say, you got to make the point that the Republicans, they really care about budget reform and they care about deficits. You can't just have the lowest tax rate since Harry Truman and never talk about having both corporations and the rich pay their fair share. All these budget hawks, deficit hawks, seem not to care. All they want to do is lower taxes, which means less money coming into the federal government. You've got companies like Exxon, you've got companies like GE, and a bunch of others who don't pay any federal taxes. How can you possibly sustain that and say you care about the deficit and budget?
Well, I'm reading that this is a listening session, Doug, and I don't know if it is or not. And you wonder at what degree the temperature rises because, listen, these sides are on very opposite sides of this debate.
Yeah, there's no question, and it speaks to what Alan was talking about earlier. The president and the White House, the only plan that we've seen is to raise taxes. And I know from working on elections last year at the RNC, a lot of Democrats were also on the campaign trail saying that we can't raise taxes. It's something that, like President Kennedy taught us back in the 60s, will have a negative impact on job growth, and that's what's going to be this key election issue. And it also goes to the point that we can't continue to sustain the unsustainable.
Yeah, I think you're right about the economy, and Alan, I think you'd agree too. That is issue number one.
Well, wait a minute.
Hang on a second. When you look at the real estate market in the first quarter of this year, it's now at the lowest point in this recession. Consumer confidence came out recently, and that was way down too. I mean, the headwinds running into this White House are extreme,
we've had,
even today during the economy.
We had 14 months in a row of private sector job growth. You can't keep talking about cutting taxes that creates jobs when Bush cut taxes to the lowest point they'd ever been in a very bad job creation record.
There's a big difference.
Where are the jobs?
If
I can just finish my thought here. Right, but how can you possibly say lowering taxes creates jobs when that's what was done and jobs were not created?
On job creation, we just found out the private sector created 38,000. They expected 200,000.
14 months in a row of private sector job growth, not as much as we would have liked, but it's trending in the right direction. You can't ignore that.
There was an article I'm looking at right here about the economy hurting Obama in 2012. These are the kind of stories, Doug, that you're going to read an awful lot about unless things turn around. And all the indicators right now is that you cannot get enough power behind this economy to really make a significant dent in what we have just gone through.
Absolutely. You know, those were also a lot of the headlines and stories that we saw last year that led to massive gains in the House and obviously the House pickup and big gains in the United States Senate. If you're the White House, you're the Democrats, whether on the Hill or in the administration, this worries you because you've not seen the growth that you've been expected, and also you've not seen the growth that was promised to you by this administration if we passed the stimulus bill that also had no Republican support and also had no Republican involvement.
Now, Alan, how do you sell your argument as a Democrat?
Well, the stimulus bill worked.
That things are getting better or that things are making a turn?
We've already seen that Chrysler was bailed out, that they're paying back. GM is paying back. We've got jobs in the auto industry. You've got less job erosion in Detroit and in Michigan than in other states. So to simply say that stimulus didn't work is just not true. Had we not stimulated the auto industry, we would have lost hundreds of thousands of more jobs, in which case the Republicans would be bellyaching about that. So you can't have it both ways.
Alan, thank you. Doug, thanks to you as well. This is a conversation that we will have now for at least 24 more months as it relates to politics and the impact in D.C. and the rest of the country. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, Bill.
All right.
Thank you.